within the next 30 days. I am convinced beyond peradventure that the realization of our collective dream of a crime-free Kenya is the bedrock upon which our economic transformation agenda will rise. In relation to confronting crime, we have stepped up the fight against the threat of terror. We have disrupted many terror plots at source, neutralized and/or arrested dozens of suspected terrorists, and destroyed a huge cache of weapons and explosives that could have badly harmed our people if these criminals were not intercepted. The current crackdown on Al-Shabaab terror cells in Somalia, which is spearheaded by the local community there, with the support of the federal government of Somalia, has tremendously weakened this dangerous militant group. Our security agencies are alert to ensure that these militants do not cross into our territory, and they are determined to keep at bay this terror group now that it is at its weakest ever. We have stepped up our border patrols and upped our surveillance on the proliferation of illicit arms, narcotic drugs, and psychotropic substances. We have improved on our intelligence gathering to stay several steps ahead of the enemy. We are always aware that terrorists only need one lucky break to hurt our country and inflict us with pain. Therefore, we always ensure we strike fast and fast to neutralize them and obliterate their nefarious networks. As our hard-working officers in the elite, specially trained formed units remain engaged to keep terror at bay, their colleagues on general duties have helped us to significantly reduce the general rate of crime in the country during the past 3 months. During the period under review, crime in the country has decreased by 13.5% from 8,297 reported incidents to 7,179 incidents in absolute numbers. Urban crime, especially the Nairobi muggings that had threatened to disrupt our way of life and businesses in our capital city in the September-October season, has now been contained. While this is good news, we intend to work so hard to ensure that we bring these crime statistics even further down. The nearly 6,000 new police officers who have joined the National Police Service in the last 100 days, as well as nearly 3,000 Kenya Prison Service officers who have graduated. Together, these officers guarantee us the sustainability of the fight against crime. The new officers will be deployed to security hotspots across the country immediately to further buttress the security of our people and their property. In relation to banditry and livestock rustling, first, we have sought to understand the problem. And this is the problem. For years, our fellow citizens in the Kenya of the North have lived in mortal fear and dread of bandit attacks. For decades, our people in these areas have been killed, maimed, and dispossessed of their property by murderous gangs of bandits and rustlers. Many victims of this terrible crime against innocent civilians resorted in arming themselves to protect their loved ones and their property. Others were driven out of their homes to live in destitution in faraway hideouts. Nothing, fellow Kenyans, is more dehumanizing than dispossessing a human being and dislodging them from their home. In the past 100 days, I have deeply sought to understand the anatomy, pulse, and lifeline of this decades-old atrocity of banditry and rustling, which over time has metamorphosed into an elaborate criminal enterprise. I have come face to face with the unthinkable ruin left behind by cattle rustlers, the orphans, and the widows who have been consigned to utter destitution by these felonry anarchists. Banditry and livestock rustling have occasioned untold socioeconomic decay that has in turn worsened and deepened the marginalization of affected communities, as evidenced by the closure of schools, abandoned market centers, and deserted health facilities. Many individuals in the affected areas had long given up on the government. Thankfully, we are now slowly building and rebuilding public trust in the government